yourself the way you see me. Thank you.
Welcome back to MyLifeWalk.com. This is your brother, your friend Brian. And as always, I count it a pure joy to be back with you with what God has shared with me. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice. I proclaim, I will rejoice and be glad in it. For He has blessed me so much. And just for me to see this day, I know more blessings are coming. And even if they don't come, I'm thankful for what He's already done. So I have plenty to be joyful about today. All right. So listen, I'm going to get right into it today. My topic today is, or my title today is, maybe, just maybe, you're talking too much. All right. So now what we're talking about here, look, I know I'm wordy. It ain't no mystery. If you've been watching my video blogs, I'm wordy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in situations with others. Maybe, just maybe, the contention that is there in that situation between you and that person is because you're talking too much. And you're not listening. And you're not hearing what they're saying. You see, we have a tendency, when someone is speaking, we are already formulating in our mind our response. We're not engaged in what they're saying, trying to understand what it is they're trying to get across to us. We hear the words and we're ready to counter what they're saying. Well, that's not really hearing. That's not really listening, because we want to combat what they're saying instead of understand what they're saying. That's our defensive mechanism. But the Bible is very clear to us about this, okay? And in James 1:19-20, it says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." All right, so now, this is what the word says. This is not what Brian says. This is what the word says. Be swift to hear. That means we have to listen to get an understanding of what someone is saying to us. We have to listen with a purpose to make sure we understand what they're saying before we respond. Because we get it twisted. We are quick to speak and not quick to hear. Because if somebody says something and we think this is what they mean, we go off into that. Well, what? Oh, I ain't nothing like that. And that's just wrong. Wait a minute. Understand what they're saying. Understand what it is you're responding to. Okay, because like I do, many of you can identify with this. Somebody will say something to us, and before they even finish getting the full sentence out their mouth, we're on it. We are at what? I can't believe you said it, and we just going on and on and on. And they're sitting there saying, "No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant." So in that situation, we're quick to speak. We didn't get the full understanding. Now, truly, if they said something that's offensive, you don't like, okay, I get that. But even in that situation, we need to fully understand what they're saying, and before we respond, ask ourselves, how true is this? Maybe this is something I need to look at. Because I can truly tell you, when we get defensive, we already know it's true. We just don't want nobody else pointing it out to us. And that's the real deal. See, so when somebody says something and we're quick to speak because we don't like it, even though we know it's true, then we got to check ourselves. I forgot to turn my phone off. Sorry. So remember, This is what the word says. Be swift to hear. Spend more time and more energy trying to understand what someone is saying to you. Spend more time reflecting on what they've said, to examine yourself, to make sure that this is something that, you know what, maybe I do need to address this. And be slow to speak in defense of what someone says without truly understanding what they mean. Because if truly you're talking to a friend of yours and they're telling you something that is painful to you about you, well, why do you think they're telling you this? I mean, if they're your true friend, because they notice this and they want you to be better. I mean, friendships have been broken because one friend is trying to be honest with the other, and that friend is not receiving that. If that's the way you see me, then we don't need to be friends. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that what a friend does? Tell you the truth when nobody else will? So maybe we're talking too much. Maybe we're too quick to speak and not swift to hear. And this is the honest to God truth, that we have to examine ourselves and look at ourselves and not be so quick to speak. Because in turn, when we are quick to speak, the wrath, the contention, it grows and grows and grows. And that 20th verse says, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. So when we keep that stirring because we're quick to speak and not quick to hear, swift to hear, we are creating the wrath. We are stirring that wrath. And the Bible says there's no righteousness in that. So we have to examine ourselves when it comes to what people are saying to us. As much as it might be tough to swallow, step back and listen. Be swift to hear and understand what it is that God is trying to tell you. Be swift to hear what it is, that piece of information that can make you better, a better person. You know, none of us are in a place that we are all that. We might want to think so, but we're not. And if there's someone who's sharing something with you about you, then you need to listen. We need to listen. You know, so maybe you are talking too much. And maybe it's time to listen more. You know, it's just what God has for me to share with you today. To share with me first. Because truly, I can honestly say, oh yeah, I get defensive. And usually that's where it comes out. When I get defensive, you may not even finish your sentence. And I was on it. I was right on it. And I wasn't listening. I wasn't swift to hear. So it's something that we have to address as human beings, and especially as believers. Because the principle says, be swift to hear. Not swift to speak. Swift to hear. Slow to speak. And slow to wrath. Alright?